Good morning, first grade. It's Mrs. Little here. I am going to go over our learning concept for the day for math. And today what we are going to be learning about is fractions. Let's clot that out and see how many syllables that word has. Fractions. Are you ready? Fractions. 2 syllables. When we talk about fractions in math, we are talking about breaking something into parts. So, you know I love to talk about food. So I am going to show you some examples with food. So first, we're going to pretend this is a cookie. All right, now we're going to pretend like it is one of those giant, big, yummy chocolate chip cookies that you can get only at the bakery. And your mom buys this cookie for you. Nice, Mom. But she tells you, you have to share with your little brother. So give your brother a part. And you're like, oh man, I don't want to share with my little brother. Ding, ding, ding. I have an idea. So you break your cookie right here, and you give this part to your brother and this part to you, you smart cookie. Would your mom be happy if she found out that you did that? What do you think? Some of you are giggling, but I think the answer is no. Why would Mom not be happy with that? You did what she told you to do, correct? You shared your cookie. You gave part to your brother. What didn't you do? Yeah, you did not give your brother the same amount. You did not give your brother an equal part. So that is what is very important with fractions, is that when you are breaking something into parts, they have to be equal. And we know from adding and subtracting that equal means the same. So no, unfortunately, you could not get away with breaking the cookie like that. All right, how would I break the cookie to share equal parts with my brother? Oh, I heard a good word. Right down the middle. Yeah. When we are looking at a circle and we are wanting to share and make fractions, remember those parts have to be equal, we are splitting this into what we call half, or 2 of them are halves. So, would Mom be very happy if you gave this to your brother? Yeah, I think so, because you have given them a half. Now, what starts to happen though, the whole cookie is this big. As we start to break it into halves, each piece starts to get smaller, right? So when I break it into 2 parts, 2 parts are smaller than 1 part. And let me show you what I mean, because that's a little confusing for us, because 2 is bigger than 1, but 2 parts are smaller than 1 part. Why is that? Well, when we have our cookie, and it's the whole cookie, that's what we call 1 part. If you got to eat the whole cookie, you would get a very big amount. You might get a bellyache. But when we start to split it, and we split it into 2 equal parts, which are called halves, then you would get a smaller part. So even though there are more pieces, each piece starts to get smaller. Now, I'm going to bum you out a little bit more. Let's say that the next day you go back to the store or to that same bakery, and Mom says, I'm going to buy you another cookie she says, but you can't eat it until you get home, and your cousins are coming over tonight. So now you have to share that big cookie with you, your brother, and your 2 cousins. So you have to share it with 4 people. And you're starting to do the math in your head, and you're like, 1 cookie split into 4 parts? Oh no, each part now is going to be even smaller. So let's look at that. All right, so if we're splitting this into 4 parts, I'm gonna go right down the middle. There's my halves. Can I split it like this? All right, thumbs up, thumbs down. What do you think? Are those 4 parts? Yeah. Are they 4 equal parts? Are the amounts the same? What do we think? No, the amounts are not the same. All right, so I'm gonna go back to those halves. Now, we have to make this into 4 parts. How am I going to do that? So I went from the whole cookie to 2 halves. Now I need to make it 4 parts. What are some ideas? Ooh, I think someone said split it the other way down the middle, right? So I went up and down the middle. Now I'm gonna go across the middle. Yeah, check that out. Kind of looks like a pizza now, doesn't it? But it's still our cookie. So now we have more parts, right? We have 4 parts, but what was bigger? Were those halves bigger, or are the fourths bigger? And that's actually what we call 4 parts. We call them fourths. That's easy to remember because it has the name 4 inside of it, and it's 4 parts. Yeah, when we're talking about fractions, 4 parts are smaller than 2 parts, right? So each time we break that into more parts, each part starts to get smaller. What if you had to share that with more people? Yeah, you'd start to only get a little sliver, a little crumble, right? Because the parts would get smaller. All right, so fractions, the important thing to remember, fractions have to be amounts that are the same or equal parts. Remember, they have to be the same. And what we have learned so far, I'm going to split this one more time. When we have our whole cookie, it's 1 part, right? Our whole thing is 1 part. When we take that shape, and we know this is a circle, and we split it into 2 equal parts, those are called halves, or I have split it in half. And if I split it even further, or into even more parts, 4 equal parts are called fourths. All right, good job. What we're going to look at now is, what if we use a different shape? All right, so we have looked at splitting a circle into different parts. We are now going to look at splitting a different shape. So this time I am going to pick name it. 3 syllables. Rectangle. Yeah, rectangle. All right, so let's go through that same thing. This time we're going to pretend that this is our cake. Yum, yum. Could you imagine if you got a whole cake to yourself? Oh, the bellyache you would have, right? But let's say you had this cake. Right now, when it's not cut into any parts, that's called it starts with a sound, but it's a W. Yeah, it's called a whole. All right, but we know, can't be greedy, can't eat this whole cake on our own. So, if I want to split it into halves, how many parts is that? 2, yep. But not only 2 parts, 2 parts that are what? Equal, yeah. I cannot just say, oh, there's my 2 parts. Nope, nope, those are not equal. So when we're talking about fractions, the parts have to be equal. All right, who has an idea? What is one way I can split that into halves? Good, I heard across the middle. Yeah, that's halves, right? 2 halves. This part is the same as this part. Awesome. All right, what's another way that I can split that into halves? Good idea. Yeah, right down the middle longwise, right? Lengthwise, good. All right, let's see, this is tricky. See if anyone can think of one more way to split that equally into equal parts. Thinking? If you thought of this, excellent job. We can actually split a rectangle into 2 equal triangles. Now, I don't cut my cake this way, right? That's not the typical way that we would cut it, but certainly you could, right? All right, I'm gonna go a step further now, and I'm gonna cut it into those 4 equal pieces, which are called fourths. 4 equal parts. All right, now I'm just gonna show you this one because I already have it up here. So one way I could split that is this. What do you think about that? Here's some yeses, and I hear some no's. What do you think about that? This part is equal to this part, but I don't know if those 2 triangles are equal to that triangle. So what do we think about that one? I don't think so. That would work on some shapes, right? That would actually work on a square, but it doesn't work on a rectangle. So let's go back to that rectangle. All right, what is a way that I can split that rectangle into 4 equal pieces? Okay, let's see, I heard down the middle and across the middle. Yeah, that definitely works. That looks like my window a little bit, right? We start to get into equal pieces. It kind of looks like a window pane. All right, there's there's 2 more ways that I can think of that we could split this into fourths. Can anyone think? Oh, we could go down the middle and then split each of those halves into 4 pieces. Now, I never cut my cake like that either because those are really long pieces, but that works, right? All right, let's see if there's one more way that we can split this. Can you think of one more way we can split this into 4 pieces that are equal? What about this? We're gonna go across the middle and then take each of those halves and split it. You gotta go over here because the kids aren't gonna be able to see. All right, so 4 equal pieces are called halves. Awesome. All right, now here's some real life math. My mom bought these for my kids. They are called lemon mini bites. Mrs. Little does not like to eat any lemon flavored goodies ever. But I want you to look at this little teeny piece right here. Last night, Jillian, if you know her, that's my daughter, one of my daughters. Jillian came into the living room and said, "May I have a treat?" And she had already had one little treat for the day. And if you know me, we try not to eat so much sugar. So she asked if she could have one of these lemon bites. And I told her, no, she couldn't have the whole thing. So she said, "Can I have half?" And she cut one like this. And I said, "No, because you already had a treat." I said, "You can have a 1/4 of one," which, make sure I get right in the center so they're equal. 4ths look like this, 4 equal pieces. And she was not very happy, but you can see she did cut it into the fourths and had one. Now I think today she must have nibbled some more, because if there's one piece left and this was cut into fourths, she must have eaten how many? 1, 2, 3, 4. She must have eaten 3 pieces or snuck one to her sister. So we're gonna have to talk about that. But you definitely can split this. This was like a circular shape. And we split that into 4 equal pieces.